along as we approach the 6:30 mark, which of course will mean kick-off for the end of the final game of the day. It is China against Germany that will conclude day 4's action here of the blind football tournament here in the World Games in Birmingham here in 2023. Well, we've seen a already big day of footballing action in both the women's and the men's, and we finish off here with China against Germany in what is the 4th game from 6 played in the men's football tournament here at the World Games. They take on a German side who were the only winners from match day 1 in Group B. Of course, they got that 1-0 win over England in the first game. China got a 0-0 draw against Argentina in what was unreliably informed a very entertaining 0-0 draw. We'll certainly discuss that and what the approach will be like for both sides with my co-commentator Dixie Dean, as both sides will cut onto the field of play. Chinese, of course, being walked up by 2 sets of officials and 2 volunteers with their flag out, facing the far side where the crowd are away to our right in our commentary position. And of course the German side's walked out by 2 officials and 2 volunteers carrying their flags as they stand right in front of the far stand. And of course, as ever, before the action gets underway and we reveal the lineups and the day's action that's happened already, we hear the national anthems of China and Germany.
Please rise if you are able for the national anthems. The national anthem of China. Hey!
起来，无愿做奴隶的人们，把我们的血肉筑成我们心的长城。中华民族到了最危险的时候，每个人被迫着发出最后的吼声。起来，起来，起来！我们万众一心，冒着爹的炮火前进，冒着爹的炮火前进，前进，前进！
Please remain standing if you are able for the national anthem of Germany.
As mentioned, it's been a busy day of action already. We got underway at 8:30 this morning. 10 hours later, nearly, we are going to be ending with the final game of the day here in Group B as China take on Germany. Well, the day's action started off like this. Morocco were able, or not able I should say, to stop the Japanese dominance of reigning supreme in Group A. Japan 4, Morocco 0. Japan topped the group, 9 points. Second place was Sweden. Their draw against England means they reach the last 4 of the women's tournament and find out who they will face, and whoever finishes top of Group B in the women's is their opponent. Morocco 3rd, England 4th, with England of course finishing bottom on 2, Sweden through on 2 with a better goal difference than themselves in Morocco. Thailand, Japan was 1-0 to Japan in Group A of the men's tournament. Match day 2 saw Italy successful against Turkey, winning by 2-1. The best game of the day so far there, and just for this game between China and Germany, Argentina, England played a goalless draw. Well, let's take a look at the lineups then, starting off with the Chinese side for their second game of these games. They line up like this. Zhu Huachu is in goal, the number 12. Number 3 is Wao Meng, the number 3. Zhang Jiabin is the number 6. Yu Yutan, number 7, is the 4th of the 5. And completing the lineup is Zhu Ruiming, the number 11. The subs then, Wang Xiao, Li Haifu, Zhu Guangsheng, Zhuao Yunhan, and also making up the side for the Chinese. The head coach is Wang Guishang with the guide Li Jin. Well, for Germany, they do have a full complement of players in their 10-man squad. They are like this. They have Sebastian Timul in goal, the number 1. The number 2 is Jonathan Tonzing, the German defender. Number 5 is their captain, Rasmus Naries. They then have, the captain, I should say, Hassan Altunbas. He's number 6. And number 7 is Taime Kutik. With the substitutes then, Nils Hemmenstadt, Alexander Fangman, Jonas Furman. They then also have Ali Chan Pektas and Emilio Eichler. The head coach is Minja Martin, and the guide is David Jonas for Germany. Alongside me in the co-commentary box is Dixie Dean. Dixie, of course, that Argentina-China game might have been goalless, but it certainly left a bit of an impression on you. You were quite impressed with the Chinese in their first game. The Germans did win against England. I mean, it does maybe feel like as though that the Chinese may, I don't know, to me, that would be a bit different for you, might just get the win over Germany in this one.
Yeah, I was impressed with Argentina and the Chinese team in those opening round of fixtures. The China, like Argentina, are very technical and pass the ball around really well. Super fit, very quick off the mark, very good with dribbling, but very accurate with their passing. And they try and work angles and try and draw players out into positions where they don't want to go. So, as I say, the game on Tuesday was really, really good. The German side, when they played England on Tuesday, they're much more direct. They'll get the ball forward and sort of get the guy up front to have a little mazy dribble and get a shot off. So they're much more direct than what the Chinese will be. So it's conflicting styles, and who's to say which is the right way and which is the wrong way? Doesn't really matter. It's what matters is who scores goals and who wins the game. So let's hopefully we'll have a good game, because I know Matt's been here since 8:30 this morning. He's starting to flag a little bit, which I can't say I blame him. And so we're both hoping for a cracking game. Yeah,
it would be a good end to the day, wouldn't it? In what has been a very good day, to be fair, in both the women's and the men's category. The referee for this one is Stuart Walton. He's the referee. The second referee is Germino Gobrano, followed by the second referee, and then, of course, the third and fourth referee, of course, off the side of the pitch, where they will be keeping an eye on both benches in their respective terms. The scorer is Luis Oliveros. Timekeeper is Alexandros Champis. Carmelo Galvano, the third ref. Rafael Sviacek is the fourth referee. As Germino Lebrano is the second ref. And Stuart Winton, I beg your pardon, is the first referee. So the main two of that four on the pitch. And off the pitch, of course, will be the third ref and fourth ref. It will be China from right to left then for the final game of the day, in all red with China at the top of their shirts, and then of course the number in the middle, and of course they have their initials, it seems, on the bottom of their shirts as well. And Germany in all white just go with the country of, well, not Germany but Deutschland at the top of their shirts, and in black of course it is the main number as well, with a sort of black on the side of the shirt for them. A lot of white on the China shirt. Of course, that kit provider Kelme is the provider for the Chinese side. Germany, of course, as you'd expect, going with Adidas, given that Adi Dassler, the man who invented Adidas, is German born. So it will be China who will get us underway, and it will be in particular the number 7 Yu Yutan and the captain Zhang Jiabin. You are on the halfway line, and away we go, and dribbling straight away is Yu Tan. With the ball at his feet over on the far side, just coming away from the 14-metre line. Left-footed pass which Zhang Xiaobin is keeping a hold of. Germans very standoffish. Very happy to let the Chinese have early possession with 25 seconds gone. Moving now towards Yu Tan. The only two players in the Chinese side who've actually touched the ball at the moment is the number 7 and the number 6. Here is Yu Tan. Right-footed pass towards the number 11, Zhu Ruming, who gets the shot away. Now Germany with a rare bit of possession as the number 7, Taimet Kutig, is on the ball. Now looking out towards Tan Tuanzing. Quite aptly the sort of yellow and red on his mask as well as the black, so emphasising of course the 3 German colours on their flag. He has lost out though as China win it back with Zhang Xiaobin. Very tall number 11 Zhu Ruming is playing the pass to number 7 Yu Tan. And I must admit, in a lot of the games I've seen in both the women's and the men's, I don't think I've seen as much possession by one team as the Chinese here, Dixie.
Yeah, this is the pattern I envisaged would happen in this game. China are very much their game is based on possession of the football, and they'll just keep moving it around. At the moment, the Germans have gone into like a low block and are not engaging, and so that's frustrating the Chinese a little bit. But they'll keep moving the ball side to side, and they'll just hope that someone will break the line and come out and challenge them. And when they do, they'll go into that gap which the German defenders vacated.
Kutig played the pass towards Jonathan Tuanzing, but China win it back on the halfway line. Now is the number 11 Zhu Ruming, just inside his own half, just dribbling away. The Germans don't want to sort of break shape, very much defending in a disengaged man at the moment. Yao Ming on the ball for China, his first touch. Germany though win it back. Well won by the number 5 Rasmus Naries. And China have got the bulk of the possession back. We don't get the possession stats, but with nearly 3 minutes played on the clock, I'd imagine if I was to estimate possession, it'd probably be around 70% at least for the Chinese side. And the Germans very much, no doubt, you can see, Dixie, if you're talking from a tactical point of view, you can tell they've done a lot of work and a lot of shape and probably a lot of analysis on the Chinese, because they have not broken shape once in the 3 minutes we've had of this game. No,
they're keeping their shape really well, and they've obviously been well drilled. And there's plenty of video evidence of the Chinese team playing, and they always play the same way. And as I say, it is possession based, and so the German team are well drilled in how they think they can set up and counteract it.
Well, the ball is a goal clearance for China. The goalkeeper Sebastian Timel was looking for Jonathan Tuanzing but couldn't find him. He was on the stretch. It was the German number 2. Here is now Zhu Ruming in the centre circle. In the middle third now. Still going on over on this far side. Dribbling away. Sending it into the box of the German goalkeeper Sebastian Timel, who picks it up and then rolls it out towards his left-hand side, where he's looking to find the number 7 Taimet Kutig. However, though, he's been dispossessed. Challenge goes in by Zhu Ruming. There's a bit of a challenge on Ruming by Rasmus Naries, and it will be a Chinese free kick. The first foul of the game is a German one, and it will be a Chinese free kick 14 metres out.
No, I think he's going to give a bounce. I think the ball got stuck underneath him. I think that was what the problem was. So, yeah, he's going to do a bounce up, an uncontested bounce up, and he'll give China the ball, because they are the ones who had it. He got it stuck between his knees, and he was trying to get up, to be fair to him, and the German player was leaning down on him. He just couldn't get up off the floor. So I think that's a fair decision by the referee.
Yeah, the Germans, to be fair, have just moved a long way back from this position, and they are a good sort of 5 or so yards away. Ball is dropped at the feet of Zhu Ruming. Left-footed pass, which Jiabing allows just to hit off the near sideboard. Goes up towards the number 7, Yu Tan. Jiabing sort of dragging the German players around, isn't he? Here's Jiabing trying to go through now. Was there a foul on him? Did look like a bit of a shove, to be fair, as the Germans try and clear. It will result, though, in a Chinese corner. Is there a genuine case for a penalty there?
Well, he certainly went down, and there were a lot of German players around him, and he did take a tumble. Yeah, I've seen those given, but as I say, the referee on the far side was quite close. He was closer than what we are, and I think we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He got the decision right, but he definitely went down on the tumble.
Well, we've seen in some games in this tournament today, various benches getting a bit wild about some decisions not going their way. Certainly Argentina and Italy a little bit at times were like that, but the Chinese were quite quiet and were quite low-key about that. But certainly the possession in this game on the pitch has been disparaging in terms of the sort of stats and how much the Chinese have had the ball compared to the Germans, but it's not worked at the moment. It's not providing any satisfaction or answers because it still is 0-0 with nearly 5 minutes played. Here is now Zhu Ruming, goes for it, rather high effort, which is skied over Sebastian Timmel's goal. Germany are going to make a change as Jonathan Tunzing is going to be replaced. Comes off after 5 minutes or so, and his replacement is onto the field of play, and it's the number 10, Alexander Fangman, who is the first change of the game for either side. There's a Chinese player to my left warming up, which is the number 8, Li Haifu, and going for it was Fangman. Xu Huachu was picking up the ball in his box, and charging at him was Fangman, and quite the 10-second introduction there by the German sub.
My word, this is where you need your guy behind the goal talking to your forward. The guy behind the goal should have been telling him to stop. The Chinese keeper, he looks all right, but that could have been really nasty. The German player just flew in, which he's going to do. He can hear the ball bouncing, but you're relying on your guy to keep people safe.
Yeah, to be fair, it is good to see that Zhu Huachu has not got any sort of blood come in or hasn't got a head injury of any sort, and he's able to just continue. There is now Yu Tan. Good work inside the area he goes. He evades one challenge, but in the way though is Nuries. Here is now the number 7 for Germany, Taime Kutig. They stopped, and it is a decision that has gone in China's favour, but the referee just checking the eye protection of the Chinese player.
Yeah, the referee's given a bounce up. One of the face masks of the Chinese players have ridden up a little bit, so he stopped the game to make sure that he was all right, and he's given an uncontested bounce up to the German side.
China change. Yu Fan right in front of us is going to make way as Li Haifu will come on to the field of play. So China deciding to make a very early first half substitution. As he comes off, he just gets a jacket on him, and he will take his seat, Will. Yu Fan. Ball at the feet of the German number 7, Taime Kutig. Those sort of luminous greenish white boots. Now over towards Fangman, who's already, as we've seen, not been afraid to use his body in challenges at full speed. A little bit slower this time round, but the Chinese outfielder Wao Meng is a little bit stronger than his marker. Fangman and the player he's playing against. Meng's carrying it a long way. He's the only one up there in the German half. About 10 metres out over on the near side, right over on that near side. So much so the ball is just sort of near enough dragging along the lower end of the sideboard. Zhu Ruming. The ball at his feet. Still the Germans adopting a very low block system. Moving as a unit. Staying compact and condensed. There is now Zhang Jiabin. Didn't have his shirt pulled on there. Referee says no. Going in there was Nuries. And he knocks it to Fang Man in Germany. Have a rare bit of possession which has gone all the way back to Sebastian Timmel, who will just maybe take the sting slightly out of the game, which Germany will just, I think, look to do at any given time here, Dixie.
Yeah, they need to catch their breath because, obviously with the Chinese side switching it from side to side, the German defenders are putting in quite a shift there, getting back into the appropriate positions all the time. And it looks like, I wish this referee would put his hand up.
He's certainly making it very difficult for us, isn't he, in terms of what his decision is. He does now sort of put
he's given
his hand in the air.
He's given a foul to the Chinese, and that was a team foul as well, so he's gone up on the board. So we're 14 yards out wide on the right hand border away from the German goal.
Yeah, 2 fouls to 0 in against the Germans, as they will make a change. As going off will be Taime Kutig, as we will see Jonathan Tonzing come on for the Germans. He will come back on. He's only been off a few minutes. As Kutig makes way. That's the beauty, I guess, when you have been subbed off. You don't actually know when potentially you're going to come back on. You probably don't want to take your sort of mask off and just take your seat or take your trainers off, because you just probably might get the call to go back on so soon after coming off, as that is the case for Jonathan Tonzing. So it will be a Chinese free kick. They are just telling the German 2-man wall to just drop back in within the required yards. The referee looks to be satisfied. We will eventually see this Chinese free kick taken with just under 8 minutes to go. Shot comes in. Did it take a nick off the German player? It did. Well spotted there, Dixie, and it will be a China corner as they keep applying the pressure on the German goal. The referee on the near side just rattling the ball as he will put it down at the feet of Zhu Ruming. Every Chinese outfielder inside the German half. Furthest one back, Yao Meng, who is back in the centre circle. 10 yards up the pitch and further right is Zhang Jiabin. Corner is taken. Zhu Ruming looking to possibly get a shot away here. They've had a lot of the possession, just about the shots on Sebastian Timmel's goal. Put out by the captain, Hassan Altenbass, and it will be another Chinese corner over on this near side. They're certainly probing, but just haven't had the shots to back up the point that they really are dominating here, I guess, Dixie.
Yeah, there's no end product at the moment, but they've got plenty of time, so they'll keep plugging away. And I think what they're hoping for is they'll switch, get it into the box, and then either draw a foul and get a penalty, or draw the Germans around a little bit so they create a bit of space.
Corner is taken. Using as a sort of blocker was Ruming to allow Zhang Jiabin to shoot. Stabbed it forward, wide of Timmel's goal. It will now reach Tonzing. He sees the ball come off his right leg and go into the Chinese half of the pitch. The German guy being very vocal in David Jonas. Of course, is allowed to do so with the ball inside his zone. Of course, he has to be quiet now because the Chinese have it just past the halfway line and into the German half. Here is Zhu Ruming. Said his name quite a lot so far. Little pass, short right-footed. Across it goes. Liu Haifu is now on the ball, or Li Haifu, I should say, I beg your pardon. Still has it here as he goes from one side to the other. Nice close control by the Chinese. Technically do look good. Not been quite as direct as some sides, and do seem to be against the idea of taking players on. They are just sort of dribbling to get territory, aren't they? As we do see a Chinese player actually taking a German player on here in Wao Meng. German defence standing firm, standing big, and getting themselves a free kick as the number 10 Alexander Fangman was clipped. That's the first foul the Chinese have given away in this first half, which is goalless at the moment.
Yeah, it's much as I thought really that the Chinese would play, and sometimes you think, oh, why don't you go direct? Why don't you go direct? But it's just not their way, and they're, as I say, possession based. They're like the Man City of blind football, the old Pep style pass.
Yeah, it's just a case of, as well, isn't it? Just a mental sort of wear you down, bit of a war of attrition from the Germans, perhaps. But it is very different to what we've seen so far at this tournament, the way the Chinese do play. As Alton Bass is battling away with the China number 8, Li Haifu. And it has ended up with a China corner. Haifu did well to just keep persisting and was determined to get something out of it if it wasn't a goal. He's got something, which is a corner, which are really adding up for the Chinese. They've eventually got to make one of these count, surely. They've got a corner here on the near side with Haifu and Ru Ming over there. 3 German players inside that penalty area, just hanging 50% in there is one of the German players. Ru Ming hits it, right footed and wide. Did have that little gap, putting him under pressure was Fangman, but he did still get the shot away, but wasn't going to test Sebastian Timmel as it goes wide over on his right hand side. As now Alton Bass has it, struggles to clear.
Yeah, the Chinese players just lay down in front of the German who was about to play. You can't do that. It's against the rules. You can lie on the floor when there's no one close to you, but you can't lie on the floor when there's a player close to you, obviously for safety reasons. So that's an indirect free kick to the Germans. I must admit that the Germans are doing really well because they're not being drawn into making silly fouls or anything. So they're well disciplined.
They're not being moved around as of yet, are they? And there will be another German free kick. Zhu Ruming fouling the number 5 Rasmus Nuries. So second free kick given away by the Chinese. 2-2 on the foul count. Draw as it stands on the scoreboard, but no goals at the moment. Dan Tornzing forward, lurking on the very edge of the penalty area. Alexander Fangman up there as well. Scoot forward, well over the head of Fangman. Goal kick. Zhu Huachu looks for the nearest ball to him, and he's almost gone down. He's put so much behind on that throw. Now for China is Zhu Ruming looking to get the shot away. Well blocked, well defended by the Germans, but I don't think it actually did take a nick off a German player because Zhu Ruming is down. I think he got caught on the follow through. He will receive some medical attention, and we will have a stoppage in play. As he does get back up, he will just sort of hobble away, and no doubt we'll be feeling it for the next few seconds or so.
Yeah, there's no foul there. He's just overstretched when he's gone for the shot. No problem, he's fine now.
So German restart. Alton Bass looking to just send it to the sideboards, hit the middle of it over on that far side away to his left. And there is now Li Haifu, who came on in this first half in place of Yu Yu Tan. No other changes made by the Chinese in this first half. Yang Jiabin, right-footed forward ball, finding Zhu Ruming, left-hand side of the penalty area, just trickles out of it. Still ongoing this attack as they're in pursuit of the opening goal. Ruming still going right-footed, and the shot is one that he won't look back on with fondness. As 4 minutes 50 seconds left, the stoppage is called. Timeout is the exact call. It is goalless between China and Germany, and it's basically the summary of the game, really. Probably China in complete control of the possession, but Germany not really afraid at the moment in terms of the onslaught from China, which we maybe would have expected. It's nice to watch, but not really in terms of the chances on the German goal at the moment, is there?
No, it's very much a bit of cat and mouse at the moment. The Chinese, as you say, have had the ball a lot. We're just having a look at some of the chances they've had. They're all a fair way out, though. They're not really getting into the heart of the German defence. Looking at that one was pulled wide.
Well, the buzzer you can hear in the background sounds is, of course, for the timeout to be over and the game to get back underway.
I must admit, you have to admire the Germans' discipline. They are keeping a really good shape. They're not getting frustrated because, you know, if you're playing a game of football, you want to play with the football, and at the moment they're not playing with the football at all. And they're not getting frustrated and not being drawn into a battle.
Kind of goes to your point earlier on where you said it's not just the physical side of it, it's more the mental side of it. And this is mental, isn't it? Because, you know, they've got to bear in mind, obviously, you know, they've got to work out of position to combat and stop the Chinese play flowing, haven't they? And they've certainly done a decent job of it, to be fair, as Taime Kutig has come back on, I should say, and has got his side free kick, I think, on the halfway line, or there was a stoppage noticed by the officials.
Yeah, there's a free kick on the halfway line. The young Chinese lad didn't say voice, so that's a direct free kick on the half. Well, just in the Chinese half of the German team.
Rasmus Furiez, by the way, or Nuriez, I should say, is off for the Germans as Taime Kutig comes on. Here he is. Man in the green and whitish boots, getting himself caught up a little bit there, but readjusts. Was he clipped? Just slightly looked like he was about to go fully to ground, but didn't fully commit to it. It's a good run here by Li Haifu. It's carried up by two German players. Whilst they're moving round, they're not moving round too much because they are in their shape and doing well. More fouls happening in the last few minutes as the wind is blowing, as you can probably hear. Chinese free kick signalled by the officials.
Yeah, the German lad's got his arm around his waist and he's just spun him round a little bit, and so we've got a free kick to China, which is about 20 metres out. It's about getting upwards of that way.
4 minutes left on the clock in this first half. It is China 0, Germany 0. Remember, in this group, it finished England 0, Argentina 0. England on a point, Argentina on 2. Shot comes in from Jiabin and it's wide of Sebastian Tiemel's goal. It was a high effort. One of those that he was at the near post, he could have ducked underneath it, but of course just saw it go past him and fly over his head and go wide. So Germany would be on 4 points, China would be on 2, Argentina on 2 and England on 1. It's a good positive run, this. Right. Taime Kutig, who's making positive strides to Zhu Huangchang's goal, or Huachu's goal, I should say. However, though, China able to bring it clear with Li Haifu. Fancy footwork, I must say there, but stopped by Kutig. Here is now Zhu Ruming. Shot comes in. Cannons off the face of Hassan Altenbas. He has lost a bit of his protection, but the play carries on. Is Alexander Fangman for Germany. He pulled on there. Certainly having a bit of a wild swing at Zhuang Jiabin, who was just getting his body up, shielding it and protecting it, just to allow another Chinese player to get onto it. And the person who is Li Haifu. Now in possession for the Chinese. He's in a lot of space. He was thinking about coming in field, but didn't. There is now for China, Zhu Ruming. And Jiabin. Challenge goes in by Hassan Altenbas, who has been put under siege. Not allowed to spin and turn. However, though, captain has got his side a goal kick. There's the referee's just looking at Rasmus Noriez's face and just seeing if the protection's okay. Here's all is good. Now he's just checking the captain Zhang Jiabin's protection. It's still clear. He's just trying to put it in the correct position. Emphasising just how important that is, isn't it? How the protection's got to be perfect and it's got to be clear, isn't it? And obviously, no wonder it does take its time, maybe more than what some people think it should do, having to check the sort of protection on their eyes.
Yeah, well, it's not only the protection, it's to make sure that we don't get the game is being played at a level playing field. If the eye shades start to wear up a little bit, if any of the players have got a bit of light perception, they can gain an advantage with that by seeing shadows and stuff. So it's important that the eye shades are fully covering the eyes, and so it not only gives them protection but also creates a level playing field.
There he is with the shot wide. He closed down 2 Chinese players in the final 10 metres of their goal. Quickly thrown out from the clearance by Zhu Huachu. Looking for Zhu Ruming. Couldn't find him, and it's just not quite clicking from the Chinese point of view. Group B in the second round of matches is yet to see a goal. We've only seen one in nearly 2.5 hours of football. Jonathan Tornzing gets back up, does run through to Taimet Kutig, cleared by Wao Meng. Kutig goes down. It was 4-1 in the Chinese favour, so he was never going to get through that barrage of players. Here's Ru Ming. Good work there by Noriès and the rest of the German team. 75 seconds remain. Still 0-0. Timul will play it over to the near sideboard despite the Chinese sliding challenge of Zhu Ruming. Here's jab in, and there it is. China are in the lead with just over a minute left to play of this first half. The Chinese have got in front. Timul, the German goalkeeper's kick, came off the near sideboard. Zhang Jiabin, the captain, took matters into his own hands, fires it past him, and China have made their possession count by taking the lead here against the Germans.
Yeah, he's run a long way with that, and the keeper is going to be very, very disappointed when he sees that tonight. He's picked it up on the halfway line, the Chinese lad, and he's come forward. It's quite straightforward. He's gone around one player, comes to another one, strikes it. Oh, yeah, the keeper's virtually sat on it, and it's gone straight through him.
Yeah, it's gone through his legs. Never a nice moment for a goalkeeper as it goes under Timulin. He really was disappointed by that, wasn't he? Was the German goalkeeper, as China have scored. Just a few moments ago I was saying there's only one goal even seen in this group. Now there's 2, so we've had double the amount in Group B. As it is now China 1, Germany 0. Does that hit the arm of the number 6, Zhang Jiabin? Certainly did look like it did. It certainly did make contact with it, but whether or not it was sticking out or not was certainly up for debate. The official, very close to it on the near side, said it wasn't, but you were nodding your head, Dixie, because you thought it was.
Yeah, I did. He's on the move like a windmill. Yeah, I thought it was handball, but the patience from the Chinese is finally paid off. A little bit of lack of concentration, and they've got in and scored their goal just before the break.
They might get more, and Jiabing, who got the goal, fancied to try and get a pot shot from the right side, but Milton Bass defending it well for Germany. Now out towards Tornzing. Crowded and surrounded by Zhu Ruming. Tornzing will just flick it to Noriès, who will just play it to the far sideboard, and the buzzer will sound, and that will be the end of the first half. Well, total control from the Chinese all the way throughout that first half without anything to really show for it, but they did get it with a minute remaining of the first half, courtesy of Zhang Jiabin's goal that has got their first goal of this tournament for the Asian side, and it was a brilliant finish right underneath the legs of the German keeper Sebastian Timul, who, when he sees that back, will be absolutely kicking himself in a first half where not a lot had happened, some half chances, but the moment of note would come courtesy of the number 6, Zhang Jiabin, who would fire it underneath the German goalkeeper and would put them into the lead at the end of this first half, and it was actually the goalkeeper's pass which wouldn't pick out a white shirt. It would, though, be picked up by a Chinese player, Zhang Jiabin, who would score and put China 1-0 up at the break here in the final game of the day, as the clock strikes 7 o'clock here in England's second city of Birmingham. It is China 1, Germany 0. We'll be back for the second half in just under 10 minutes time, as we now have a word from IBSA as they give you a little guide to blind football.
It's fast, technical and tense. This is your guide to five-a-side football. There are 5 players per team, 4 outfield players and a goalkeeper. The aim of the sport is to score a goal by kicking the ball into your opponent's goal, and at the end of the game, whoever scored the most wins. Players must wear eye shades to ensure that all players have the same level of vision. That is apart from the goalkeepers, who aren't required to wear eye shades and can be fully sighted. Their job is to keep the ball from going in the goal behind them. But how do the players on the field know where the ball, or indeed the goal, is? Well, the ball in blind football is specially designed to make sound whenever it moves. Also, each team has a guide behind the opposition goal to help direct them. Each player is required to shout "Voy" when going for the ball. This ensures every player has the cues they need to help build a picture of what's going on and what to do next in defence or attack. To help this, total silence is required from the crowd until a goal goes in. Voy is Spanish for go, and it was the Spanish who were credited with originally developing blind football in the 1920s. As well as the Paralympics, teams from all corners of the world can compete at World, European, Asian, African and America's Championships, as well as a World Grand Prix.
Blind football can be played by both men and women, with the historic first Women's World Championships coming up in 2023.
So what are you waiting for? Give it a try.
IBSA, International Blind Sports Federation, presents, with the support of the International Paralympic Committee, IBSA Anti-Doping App, the first application of its kind in the Paralympic movement, specifically designed for blind and visually impaired people. Athletes, coaches, medical staff, managers, and the public in general now have a powerful tool to stay focused on the principles of clean sport. Scrolling down the main menu, you can find all the important themes you need to know to play fair and be alert to testing procedures and necessary adaptations for athletes with visual impairments. IBSA gives top priority to anti-doping control, being the only international federation with 3 sports in the Paralympic family: goalball, football, and judo. IBSA Anti-Doping App has external links, namely to WADA, where our sport agents can always find the most updated information, especially the list of prohibited substances and methods. Glory in sport can only be achieved by the athlete's awareness of their rights and responsibilities. You can find them on the IBSA Anti-Doping App. IBSA is continuously promoting anti-doping education to all its affiliate athletes and sport agents, not only about the consequences of the use of doping and the risk of using supplements. IBSA believes that education is the major tool to fight doping in sport. Informed athletes can make better decisions. Download the app now at the usual operating system stores.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history being made today.
Such a great team at these championships.
IBSA. Beyond sight. Feel the sport.
Welcome back to the final 15 minutes of action for the day before we conclude the action in the blind football tournament. Day 4 this is. Listening and watching on with me, Matt Isles, alongside me is Dixie Dean. I mean, we haven't quite seen as many dominant first half displays as we saw with China, but they only lead by 1-0, so you have to give a lot of credit to the Germans for the way they did astutely defend and organise themselves in that first 15 minutes.
Yeah, they were extremely organised in that first 15 minutes. They're going to have to come out and play a little bit more now if they want to get back into this game, which is only going to create a bit of space for the Chinese players to exploit. So, could be an interesting second half.
It could be an interesting second half indeed, as Germany get us underway right to left in all white, China left to right in all red for this second half, as the goal scorer Zhang Jiabin now has his first touches of the ball and gets a flavour of the ball for this second half. Right ahead of him is Zhu Ruming, but won't use him. A distinctive feature on the Chinese shirt, by the way, as I mentioned before kickoff, is they have got 3 initials at the bottom of their shirt. They've got China at the top, then they've got the number, which is of course the standout, and then they've got the 3 letters initials in their name. So for number 7, Yu Tan, it's got YYT, and of course for Zhu Ruming it's got ZRM, which is quite interesting. There's now Germany in possession with Taime Kutig looking over to the far side with a pass over to his right. However, though, intercepted by China's midfield maestro Zhang Jiabin. Good work though by Rasmus Naries. There's the ball at his feet, just sees it go back, but nice close control as he now is in the centre circle in the Chinese half. Still going on here. He's pulling on the shirt of Zhu Ruming. China now have it. Jiabing, I should say, puts it out for a corner kick for Germany. So could be a rare moment here. We could see Germany actually get a shot on Zhu Huachu's goal.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure put onto the Chinese defence there, and then we might see a German shot on target, which I think, if they do, from recollection, will be the first one.
Yeah, certainly can't remember to my knowledge that they've had an opportunity in this game, as we are coming up to 90 seconds gone of the plus 90 seconds gone of this contest. In the second half, it is China 1, Germany 0. We'll go through the two sides after this corner has happened.
They're just hanging on a little minute because we got an ambulance going past with the sirens blaring.
So of course, with that sound now very much away and out in the distance, we carry on with the corner taken. Goes right across the penalty area. Kutig putting the Chinese midfielder Ruming under pressure. So the teams then just quickly: China, Zhu Huachu in goal. They then have Wao Meng, Zhang Jiabin, Yu Tan and Zhu Ruming starting for them. Here's their 5 players on the pitch. They then have the German side are like this. They have Sebastian Timul in goal. They have Hassan Altenbass, Rasmus Naries, 6 and 5 in the team. Also number 10, Alexander Fangman, and number 7, Taime Kutig, completing the lineup for the Germans. Here is now Naries. Good play here by the German number 5. Still going on, looking to get towards the penalty area. It's got a touch off of Wao Meng, and it will be a corner. And certainly, Dixie, when we were speaking off air before the start of the second half, we said the Germans have got to come out a bit more, be a little bit more open, a little bit more expansive, and they're doing just that in the early stages of the second half.
They certainly are, and the big tall German number 5 seems to be the one who he carries it particularly well, and he's the one who's driving on into the heart of the Chinese defence, and it's going to make it a more open game. So, which is good for us.
There will be a Germany corner on the near side, which has been taken. Taime Kutig, centre circle in the Chinese half, closed down and loses out to Zhang Jiabin, and that looked a bit of a cynical foul from Kutig. Probably not happy he was dispossessed so easily, so took out some of his frustrations on Zhuang Jiabin, who's down, and he's quite slow to get back up. Seems as though he's got a pain in his left elbow as he's just rubbing it up and down and rubbing it quite aggressively. So Chinese free kick. First foul of the half is a German one, with China leading by a goal to nil here in Birmingham. So there are two German players over to my left warming up in Jonathan Tonzing and Emilio Eichler, who could be coming on within the next few minutes. Here is now Yu Tan on the halfway line. There is just a real class difference at times in this game, isn't there, with the Chinese and the Germans. Certainly do look a real sort of polished, neat side to the Chinese. Germans a little bit untidy, but still hanging on in there. They have shown flashes that they can be a decent side. They've been decent at the back, to be fair. Can't say the same in attacking. Zhang Jiabin is trying to go on here. Alton Bass knocking into him, just not allowing him to continue. Jiabin now has to deal with Fang Man, who's putting him under pressure. Trying to clear it back to a Chinese player, and in particular Zhu Ruming was Jiabin, but it's cut out by Nurias, who's playing further forward now than what he was in the first half. As surprisingly to some, it feels like Germany, in sort of nearly 5 minutes or so of this second half played, have had a little bit more lion's share of the ball and a little bit more of the play than the Chinese have had, which you would not have thought given how that first half went.
No, they're certainly coming back into the game more now, and it's a contrast of styles, and it's quite interesting to see how it evolves and ebbs and wanes between the two sides. And the Chinese got it back in their own third now, and they're just slowly moving it across side to side, and then they go forward. And he's in onto the German third, draws a foul from the German centre back there, and it's going to be a free kick 10 metres out, centre of goal to China.
Zhang Jiabin was fouled. He did get his shot away, but it was Nurias who did just give him a little knock in his back. So Germany might make this change before this free kick takes place. Jonathan Tonzing ready and waiting to come on. There is a free kick about sort of 10 metres out. Germany will now make this changes. Heimet Kutig will come off. He's got blood on his shorts actually, as Kutig from an incident that would have maybe have happened earlier on in the game. Only just noticed it as he's just coming off right in front of us. So Tonzing on for the Germans, as he's involved immediately in being in Sebastian Timmel, the German goalkeeper's four-man wall.
I'm not sure if it was his blood or someone else's. There didn't seem to be any cuts on him as he come off, did he? But he certainly had a good deal of blood on his shorts.
There's certainly a bit of a mystery how that's come about, but we can speculate all we want. We're probably not going to find out the truth there on that one, but back to this. It will be a Chinese free kick. 10 metres out. Zhu Ruming and Yu Tan are the two players over the ball. Yu Tan's right foot touching it at the moment. Tap of the post. Ruming hits it. It's gone right into the number 5 Rasmus Nuyes, who I think was able to block it, and it has now gone Germany's way.
Yeah, it's an indirect free kick to the German side. I think what's happened is the Chinese player has double touched it. You can't pass it to yourself from a free kick, and he's double touched it, so they give an indirect free kick to the German side.
Yeah, the wind is coming in. It's been a real sort of mixed bag today in terms of the sort of weather. We've had it really hot spells, we've had it a bit chilly. Certainly coming in now as very much it is a dusk sort of early evening sky here in England's second sitting in the West Midlands. Challenge goes in by Yu Tan. Still has the Ball at his feet. Doing very, very well. Looking to take on Tuanzing. Beats him on his inside right. Still goes on. Play has been pulled back. I don't think the Chinese will accept that because Yu Tan was towards the 8-metre spot and looked like he was going to get himself set to shoot. He had all the momentum, but the referees did pull that back. The goalkeeper, certainly Zhu Huachu, was a little bit not happy about the decision being pulled back, and he probably has a right to feel aggrieved because it looked like China might have been in for a second there, as the referees did give the free kick in their favour as they were about to make a change with Yu Tan going off. Yeah,
there was a foul there, but the Chinese player had recovered and he was still heading in on goal, and the guy behind the goal, behind the German goals, weren't absolutely apoplectic about it, but yeah, I can understand that to a certain degree, but it's difficult when you sort of a referee, you sort of say, you know, when do you stop it? You know, if you leave it go too long, you can't take it back, and like sometimes the team will turn around and say to you, well, you didn't let it go long enough, then the next time you do it, you said, well, you let it go too long, so it's a difficult one.
Chinese free kick taken. Li Haifu on for Yu Tan. Intercepted well by Fang Man, who gets a left leg to it. There is now Zhang Jiabin. Under no pressure whatsoever. He's got the freedom of his own half to try and think about his next move. Left off the sideboard. Ending it going to Ms. Li Haifu. Carrying on going. Good challenge by Tuanzing. He now comes forward here. He fancies a pop at goal, you know. He may do and does. I'll say by Zhu Hachu. That was always going to be what Tuanzing was going to do. Here now do come the Chinese, Zhu Ruming. Feigns one way as the two German players went to their right. There's a foul on Ruming, who, to be fair, was honest as he could be and tried to stay on his feet, but the Germans have got to be very careful now because they are just making silly fouls that are getting noticed by the officials, and they've got 9 minutes left of this second half and to make sure they don't commit another foul.
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Because the ref on the foul before the referee pulled it back and has given them a foul, that means they're now on 4. If he hadn't pulled it back, they'd be on 3. So the guy behind the goal might be thanking the referees in a minute that they're getting 8-metre penalties when they wouldn't have been getting them. So it's a balancing act, isn't it? But that was a clear foul on the Chinese lad going forward, and we get a free kick, well, probably 9 metres out, but it's very wide out on the boards.
They're certainly going to play away from the boards, aren't they? That is very, very clear. There's the two Chinese players, Zhu Ruming and Zhang Jiabin, wait to take this free kick. It's only 2 together in the German wall. There's 2 other players behind them. Alton Bass with the blue armband behind them, as well as Fang Man. Naries and Tuanzing are the 2 in the wall. Ruming will hit it, will strike it low, strike it away and through the bodies, and out of play for a German goal clearance, which has been thrown up by Timul. Looking for Fang Man, who was closed down by Jiabin. Both ended up down on the floor. Can't really give a free kick in either direction, or a foul in either direction, I should say. China now inside the German half. Going up to the 14-metre line, about 60 metres or so out is Li Haifu. Now it's Naries who sends it forward. Cut out well by Wao Meng. He's had very little to do defending-wise for China. May have to do now, though, as Fang Man is asking questions. China, they're able to dig themselves out of it. They'll do it quite casually as well. Meng on a casual run, goes for it! Top save by Timul. He wasn't going to be beaten by a long-distance drive like Jiabin did in the first half, and makes a good strong save as it's a China corner away to our right.
Yeah, the Germany keeper there has definitely redeemed himself. That was a great save. It was a great run by the Chinese centre-back. He's gone the full length of the pitch and he's unleashed quite a fierce shot, and it was heading off into the goalkeeper's right-hand side, and the German keeper's come across and got a good, strong right hand on it, pushed it round.
Germany are to get a good result out of this and even possibly win this game, which is a real big ask. No doubt they will be forgiven on Sebastian Timul. Corner is taken. Germany defend it well. Very good out of possession. Here's now Zhu Ruming. It's a real prospect, doesn't he, does Zhu Ruming? Zhang Jiabin is there. Close to him past the 14-metre line inside the Germany half. There's also Li Haifu. Looks over to his right, through the legs of Zhang Jiabin. He goes down. Eye protector comes off. Well, part of it does anyway. Still has the black covering over his sort of white tape, which is the first part, of course, of the protection. And the whistle is blown. Therefore, no choice but to stop it, to allow Zhang Jiabin to put the covering back over his eyes. With China in possession, so it will restart, with China having the ball given back to them. As Germany will make a change. As Hangman will go off. And they will make a substitution here for the Germans, as Jonas Fuhrmann will come on for a first appearance of this game. 7 minutes 24 seconds left on the clock, where Germany trail by a goal to nil. Zhang Jiabin's goal, 1 minute remaining of the first half, has put the Chinese in the driving seat, and as it stands is going to put them top of the table in Group B come the end of play tonight, as the table will literally go 4-3-2-1. China 4, Germany 3, Argentina 2 and England 1 going into the final round of matches. China will play England, Germany will face Argentina. As of course Germany and Argentina have played each other in the women's draw in this blind football tournament. And of course, speaking of Germany and Argentina, both will play in action tomorrow. First two games of the day in the blind football tournament, both men and the women. Austria against Argentina. Germany will take on India. So we'll find out who finishes where, 1 to 4 in the groups in the women's side of the draw in Group B. Here is now Jiabin. They're going to get the shot away. 3 German players intent on making sure he doesn't shoot towards Timul's goal. Here is now Haifu. Tuanzing with the foot in. Zhu Ruming. He doesn't want to let go. Zhang Jiabin. And now we are really starting to see the Chinese really knocking about it. Be patient, and they've got every right to be, haven't they? They won't panic. They are 1-0 up in a really good position. It doesn't really look like that's going to change anytime soon.
No, they can keep passing it around, just winding the clock down. Their game management is first class, and they're right up in the top corner now with the ball, and they'll just keep winding the clock down.
Of course, as well, you've got to remember, Germany on 4 fouls. They make 1 more foul, trying to get an 8-metre penalty, so maybe they're just trying to draw the Germans into making a foul as the shot comes in from Zhu Ruming. Blocks off the near sideboard and goes on through to Timul in the Germany goal. Throws it all the way out, looking for Tuanzing, who was the furthest man to chase. It's gone off a Chinese player. I think it was Liao Meng who was the man who it came off last, and it will be a Germany corner. It's those situations that they might look to pray for and look to capitalise on, those sort of areas where it's just a little bit of a missed clearance that could lead to a corner that can be the big saving grace for the Germans.
Yeah, that was just a long throw out by the keeper. Obviously it bounced in his own half, but it's a long throw out, and they had one Germany player inside the box, and you know, if he can bring it under control and turn and smash it in, that's it's not a bad tactic.
The German side going from right to left in this second half. Corner is taken. Tuanzing has lost out, trying to do his very best to regain it and win the ball back for the Germans, but Jia being very, very clever, just sticking an arm into his back. Fuhrmann battling away with Wao Meng, goes off men, and it will be a clearance for the Germans, as diving down was the number 11 Zhu Ruming. Behind him as well at the very same time was Li Haifu. Very much in sync with each other is Li Haifu over the 14-metre line. Right-footed effort. Timul spills it. Struggling to clear his Altenbass. Fuhrmann trying to do the same as well. They just came together. and it stopped as it just would not move away from the knees of Zhu Ruming. It just seemed like he's close to trapping it, but Timmel again, not with the most convincing of saves, but did, most importantly, keep it out and keep it at 1-0.
Yeah, so it was it was a good save, but yeah, the Chinese lad's got it stuck between his legs, so we've got an indirect free kick to Germany.
Which they have taken. It's gone into the Chinese half, but gone straight to Zhang Jiabin on the halfway line. Too quick and too good as he shoots. Timur with the save behind him. Powerful effort, so much so that he pushed it right up into the air as it has gone out of play for a corner kick. Now the German goalkeeper's really earning his money here.
Well, that's a great effort, great run, and he's got a really good connection on that ball there, and it was a fine save by the keeper high above his head.
Well, I think we can now say he's certainly redeemed himself as the German goalkeeper with those two big saves he's just made in the last few seconds. Just under 4.5 minutes left to go. China in a very nice cushy position here, but still only 1-0. It is the most dangerous lead you can have. They will want that second goal, won't they? Zhu Ruming. Still no sign of an alteration from the Chinese bench during this second half. Li Haifu closed down by Rasmus Naries. They'll knock into Jonathan Tornzing, the man, of course, whose protectors are very much in keeping with the German flag, being red, black and yellow. Germany are going to make changes. Timer Kutik is going to come on. Man who has mysteriously got blood on his shorts, in which we still don't know how that's happened. It certainly hasn't, I think, happened from being on the pitch. And anyway, back to the action here. It is Li Haifu now on the ball. Just feeling like a bit of a training ground exercise this for the Chinese, as the referee has stopped play. And it is just to simply check Li Haifu's visor and protector, as I think the referee was just a little bit unhappy with how it looked on his face. But just going back to what I was saying, it is just that sort of vibe now, isn't it? It's just a bit of a training ground exercise, and almost for China's kind of rate being played at a bit of a walking pace.
Yeah, they're just trying to kill the game off, and so they're going to restart with the ball again, and I think, Matt, we might get blown away here in a minute. The wind is blowing.
You haven't got an umbrella.
The wind's blowing in here and everything's moving.
Yeah, Jonas Furman is off, as on comes Timer Kutik for the sort of 3.5 minutes plus that remain of this game. Remember, there is never no stoppage time. Once the clock stops on that time, you just carry on from there. No extended time that we've seen in sort of the ridiculous nature of these sort of cited football, haven't we, where we've seen minutes in the sort of Premier League and the top divisions go past the 10 mark. No such thing here. Don't even go over 10 seconds, let alone over 10 minutes. In possession is Li Haifu. Probably the best example of game management I've certainly seen at this tournament so far, in either the men or the women's. Here is now Haifu, seen a gap, running through it, or sensed the gap, I beg your pardon. Good challenge by Tornzing. Germany looking to smash and grab a draw here. Here would you draw, they would stay top of the group, remember, because they're the only side coming into match day 2 in Group B that have won. England Argentina drew 0-0 earlier on today. Tornzing on the far sideboard. Zhang Jiabin has won it. The decision has been given in Germany's favour. There is a timeout called with 2 minutes 43 on the clock. We saw at the start of this second half kind of the approach from the Germans was to try and drive towards the Chinese penalty area. It was working to some degree. It's just sort of slightly gone by the wayside in the last sort of 5 minutes or so. Dixie, I mean, you know, they're kind of, we've seen both sides of the Germans in this second half. I think maybe now they've got to think in their own mind, you know, abandon the defensive element. Let's just try and go for it and try and get an equaliser and take the risk and you know, accept that maybe China might get a second goal with us trying to counter on them and trying to score?
Yes, I think the Chinese have weathered the storm a little bit. Germany definitely come out and attack more in the early part of the second half. But this Chinese side is really well drilled, well organised, and they're getting in and around the German players and stopping them from performing, and I think frustrating them. We're going to start the game over on the far side. We believe it's a free kick to Germany. It looks that way, over the way they're going across there. Just have a look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard's not showing any fouls against the Chinese, so I can only guess it must have been a technical foul, and is it indirect?
Yeah, no foul still against the Chinese in this second half. 4 against the Germans. They've done very well in the last sort of 6 minutes or so to not concede another foul. One of them, perhaps, looking back, it was the third foul that they conceded. They probably shouldn't have pulled that one back, the officials, but it was against them there. But of course they do give it away then. There will be an 8-metre penalty for the Chinese, and they will have the perfect chance to go 2-0 up in this game. There'll be a free kick here for the Germans, indirectly about 16 metres out between the 14-metre line and the halfway line. As Tuanzing takes it, drives over towards the near side. Going on going, but just runs out of room, and it will be, though, a corner as it took a nick off Li Haifu. Got exactly what he wanted there, Tuanzing, which was to, 1, get Germany up the pitch, and 2, get his team a corner and keep them up there.
Yeah, so you're a corner here, just over 2.5 minutes to go, so the pressure's on the Chinese defence. Let's see what they can do from this.
Well, of course, we did see in the last game one example of an Argentinian player being a little bit too excited to close the England corner down. Chinese staying in their shape. Oh yes, we'll just peel away from them. They have taken it. Shot comes in by Kutig, and Chinese block it low. They actually blocked it inside their penalty area. No one in there in red in that penalty area of theirs, as Li Haifu now is on the ball. That's the 14-metre line, and we'll just knock it forward. It will come off the shin of the right side of Taimit Kutig. Here's Zhu Ruming. Ruming on it now on the ball, being held off by Tuanzing. That is beautiful skill. Trapped in between his ankles and then just flicked it forward. Zhu Ruming going on in the penalty area. That is special. Well, that is special by Zhu Ruming. Absolutely wonderful goal. Took it from the far sideboard all the way over to the right side of the penalty area and absolutely wallops it in past the German keeper Sebastian Timmel. It's 2-0, and what a special goal that is by China's number 11, Zhu Ruming.
It's such an acute angle he's got it in from as well. It's obviously the pace has done the keeper, because he's only about a couple of feet off the goal line, and he's absolutely leathered it. Oh, good goal, lad. Well done. And it took a bit of skill to get him out from the position he was in, because he was on the far board, boxed in by sort of 2 Germans. He's got out of that, wriggled out, come across the goal, and wow, what a goal. Well, that puts this game to bed, I'm afraid, Matt.
It certainly does indeed, and the highest praise certainly goes to Zhu Ruming for that strike. Wonderful play, and that has just been the difference as well in this game. Just China just looked that little bit more polished, a little bit more slicker. Are they the dark horses for this tournament? Certainly the South American sides, your Brazils and even your Argentinas, probably still fancied a little bit more than perhaps the Chinese, maybe to some, but given the way they've played in this game today, they are at the moment the top dogs in Group B, and of course will be a side that look like they could go a long way in this competition, as now they look to come forward again. Haifu, does he bundle into the number 7? Taimit Kutig, referee says no. Here on the near side, we're into the final minute here. as Marius knocks it over towards Tuanzing. Clock is ticking down. Usually when you're into that last minute, it does usually mean that the ball is very much on the sideboard as the winning team, or the team looking to just be out of possession, just tries to hold off the attackers. And China will make a very, very late substitution. As off goes Zhu Ruming, who has stolen the show with that wonderful effort where he carried the ball a fair old way. Carried it about 10 metres before absolutely smashing in past Sebastian Timul. Well, you could blame the keeper for the first goal going under him. You could not give him the blame for the second goal. He's avoidable in that sense as the China change sees Zhu Guangsheng come on for the last 44.4 seconds to be precise that remain of this game. And because Tuanzing kicked the ball up for Germany, the ball will restart at the feet of China, and in particular in those turquoise boots, Zhang Jiabin. Here is now Li Haifu. Just emphasising, you said you liked them against Argentina, Dixie. They've been very good against the Germans, have the Chinese, haven't they?
Yeah, they're a good side, really good side. They pass it round really well. And they're very patient. They don't panic, and they've scored two nice goals, and no panic stations at all. And they've limited Germany to scraps. Basically, I don't think the Germans have had they've had 1 or 2 shots on target, but that's about it.
Yeah, we're into the final 10 seconds now. Is Jiabin just lurking around the penalty area. The Germans defend that one well there. As the buzzer sounds, and that is the end of the game. China go top of Group B. They're the only side in the second round of matches in this group to taste victory. Germany knocked off their perch by the Chinese, who put in a very stylish performance. A goal in each half towards the end as well. Wang Jiabin's first goal of the game put the Chinese in front, and their first goal of this tournament, in which he fired it low under the legs of Sebastian Timul, that put the Chinese in front. And then they would wrap it up with Zhu Ruming scoring, as he would put the ball very high past Sebastian Timul, who would be unable to keep him out. And it was an unstoppable effort, to be fair, that would see China win by 2-0. They turn to the coaching staff and bow to them. They're going to be turning over to the far side and bowing to the crowd as well. Certainly been a very good performance by the Chinese, and probably the best performance by a team on the day in the action. The 6th game of the lot has probably produced the most standout performance by a side, and it's China who win. They go top of Group B on 4 points. Germany drop a place to second. They, of course, did beat England in their first game, so they're still in a decent position to get second place. Argentina third on 2 points. 2 draws in their opening 2 games. England bottom of the pack on a point, but it does still mean that everyone is in with a shout of finishing in top spot in that group, potentially. It is full time here at the University of Birmingham. It is finished here. China 2, Germany 0.